We knew that California was expensive, but now we know exactly how much more expensive. $26,000 for the typical middle class family per year versus the average state in the nation. Coming up, I'll break that number down, tell you where those costs are coming from, and how we can fix it to save you money. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California, and it's not a secret. Most people know that California is an expensive state. We hear about it all the time in the news. People say, oh yeah, California is more expensive, more expensive. Well, the question is, have we ever figured out exactly how much more? A report being released by the Transparency Foundation gives us an exact number for a typical middle-class family, and it is staggering. It's over $26,000 more to live in California for a family of 3 per year versus if they were living in another state paying the average national cost for a variety of household budget items. $26,000 is obscene. It is outrageous that is the burden that California politicians are putting on the backs of our residents. It doesn't have to be that way. And the report actually walks through each household budget item, how much more expensive it is to live in California for that individual budget item. And it lays out ways to reduce costs so that we can save you some money. Let me tell you, it always gets traced right back to a negligent or costly policy imposed on us by our negligent and spending addicted politicians. So let's go through the report real quick. You can get the full copy of the report online at the website, thetransparencyfoundation.org, thetransparencyfoundation.org. The Cost of California 2023, how costly mandates and negligent policies give California residents the highest cost of living in the nation. And let's get through to the numbers. So the first number is $26,478.72. What is that? It is the added financial burden in 2022, so last year. So the numbers are higher for this year. The added financial burden in 2022 of living in California for a middle-class family earning $130,000 a year, as calculated by California to national averages methodologies outlined in this report. This is astounding. And by the way, $130,000 is a pretty good middle-class family, right? In most states, some people would even say it might be higher income. Not in California. In fact, the report lays out some interesting comparisons for different metro areas in terms of what is defined as middle class. More on that in just a minute. 42%. That's the percentage of cost increase in California as reported by the Council for Community and Economic Research. Now, the reason why that's interesting is you hear about a number like 42% more expensive, and you're like, oh, that's more expensive. And then you kind of go about your life. The reason why the Transparency Foundation's $26,478.72 number is key is that people can identify with that. That's a lot of money. It used to be, before Joe Biden, a new car. And $130,000 a year being middle class, that, again, defies logic. So percentages usually go over people's head. But $26,478.72, that is key. By the way, as we're going through this, help us out. Share this video. Help us goose the algorithm by liking the video, comment below about what you are seeing for your costs, because I'm going to go through some cost categories today, and I want you to tell me whether you're paying more or less than the numbers I'm about to share with you for each of these budget items. When you comment, it helps the algorithm promote the video more. Share the video with your friends. Also, like and subscribe to this channel so that we can give you updates. We post a new video every day on a different topic. This one is really good today, if I may say so myself. But subscribing to the channel and getting notifications when we post new content helps you stay in touch with the news that we give every day. Okay, 57% is the percentage of Californians who say they are experiencing financial hardship because of rising prices. That's according to the PPIC poll that I'll talk about in a minute. $232,000. Wrap your head around this one. $232,000. That's a lot of money. Well, that wouldn't make you rich, not in the Bay Area. That actually puts you within the definition of middle class in the Bay Area. This is absurd. 67% of 40%. 40% of Californians say that they're thinking about leaving the state. Of those 40%, 67% say it's because of the high cost of living. So this is a major problem. I won't go through the executive summary because we're going to cover some of these things in depth. So typical family budget. What the Transparency Foundation did is they put together a model family budget for the Garcia family. They have a son, 3 years old. They make $130,000. Alejandro works a construction job, $85,000 a year. Sarah is a teacher's aide, $45,000 a year. They drive 2 vehicles, one new, one used. Their expenses, as you'll see in a minute, are not lavish. They keep their discretionary expenses, non-food, non-utility, non-rent, to $500. That's not extravagant. They are healthy enough not to go to many doctor visits per year. They priced in one ER visit because their son Daniel fell. Happens to all of us. So their household income is $130,000. The average for taxes is $42,813. The Garcia net income each month is $7,265.58. That's the take-home pay. Okay, after you pay the tax man. Total monthly cost of living in California, though, as I'll show you in a minute, is $9,241 per month. That means they're in debt nearly $24,000, or about $1,000 a month. In debt. If they lived in another state, they'd be able to save about $2,800, $2,768. So the net cost of living in California is actually $26,478.72. So that's where that number comes from. And I'm going to walk you through the numbers right now. And each of these line items of the budget reflect the average cost that the report calculated nationally versus here in California. So rent, $3,000 a month. Again, it's probably a 2-bedroom house in San Diego. $3,000 is actually on the lower end of what people will get. The national cost of rent is $1,700, $1,702. So they're spending $1,298 more just to rent in California than they would living an average cost in another state. So we take that money off their monthly take-home pay. Electricity, $188.88 a month. National cost is $97.47 a month for electricity. It's 94% higher in California. Next, the water cost, $77 a month for California. And by the way, I live in the city of San Diego. $77 probably not happening, but they're probably very good on their water bill. $40.92 a month is the national average. They're paying an extra $36 to live in California. Grocery bill, $370.96 per person per month, $1,112.88 total. Nationally, it's $354.50. California is 4% higher. Remember, we're a breadbasket, so proximity to food actually helps us in this case. Proximity to Mexico with produce and whatnot. Central Valley. The grocery bill. So car payment, we went ahead and said that the car you used and new would be the same cost as you can get nationally, because maybe what they do is they fly somewhere and drive it. Again, we wanted to be very, very careful about this. Car insurance, $2,115 per year per vehicle, assuming a good driver discount, $246.75 per month. Well, nationally, it's $1,644 per year, or $192.46 for 2 vehicles. That's an extra $55 per month in California. Gas. We're talking about $2.10 more per gallon per versus the national average, which is an extra $105 or 25% higher in California per month. College loans, $0. Okay, that's very rare. Healthcare, $835.59. That's a bronze plan. It includes a state subsidy of $159, which means that they're actually paying higher taxes to subsidize themselves. We got $303 per month in out-of-pocket expenses because they went to that ER for that toddler fall. We'll get to that in a minute. They're going to be paying total for $41.59 more, or 4% higher in California for the entire healthcare cost, insurance plus the out-of-pocket expenses. Credit cards, we just gave them $500 for no matter where they live. Renter's insurance, 5% lower in California. That's interesting. More on that in a minute. Childcare, sucker punch, $1,412 per month. In California, $930 national average. It's $481 more. By the way, they went into debt right back when they finished paying healthcare. Okay, whereas over in the national average, they're left with $230.71 at the end of the month. So they actually are above water. California, $1,975.85 in debt. Now, what could they do? Maybe they got parents in the area, and so they don't have to pay that. But they're still underwater here, $500 in debt. Maybe they skip their insurance. Maybe they decide not to eat out. No spending money at all. That's not practical in terms of no spending money at all. Maybe they just don't have health insurance. I mean, where do they cut? Where would you cut? Where are you cutting? Sound off in the comment section below. Tell me if these numbers are any different than your numbers. I suspect they're probably higher in many cases than your household budget. Okay, so what is fueling this? Well, first, people are leaving the state of California. Cost of living is the major reason. The polling shows that. That was that poll that I referenced earlier. We actually put the poll in the report that you can get online at thetransparencyfoundation.org. People are feeling as though things are going to get worse. 69% of California residents expect worse economic times to come. They're not optimistic. That stress is an impact on them. Take a look at what it takes to be a middle-class family. The national median household income is $70,000. Low-end middle-class income is $47,000. High-end is $141,000. Well, in San Francisco, low-end is $77,000. That's 47 versus 77. That's an extra 30 grand. High-end, the middle class is 232, as I mentioned earlier. San Diego, 61,000 is low-end middle class. High-end middle class in San Diego is 182. Riverside, 154. I mean, a household earning that amount of money shouldn't be considered middle class. In most states, that's pretty good. We're higher than any other state in the country. So let's break down each cost in your budget. Higher housing costs. Now, most people are going to say, well, the reason why, the California is so expensive is housing costs. Well, it's a big chunk of the reason why, but not the entirety. Housing costs are, for a mortgage, $3,400 in California. National price, $2,300. That's $1,100 more. West Virginia mortgage is $1,700. How about rent? $2,500 for California, $2,506. Oklahoma is $957, but you got to live in Oklahoma. Sorry. National average is $1,702. So you're talking about $804 difference. This is obscene. There are some reforms that are laid out here. Reform CEQA, repeal anti-landlord laws, cap housing costs, and have a fixed timeline. Don't repeal Prop 13. I mean, these are simple things, but the Democrat politicians in Sacramento are trying to do more of this, more costs for housing. Your average cost in California for renting is $30,000 a year, $40,788 for mortgage. The penalty is you're shelling out $13,000 more annually for a mortgage, or almost $10,000 more for rent. Gas prices, as I mentioned, $2.10 more per gallon than the national average. When you look at what it's going to cost you, the annual cost is $936.60 just for your gas per driver. In order to earn that, you need to probably earn with tax, your tax payments, $1,400. Think about that. You have to earn $1,300 because of California's absurdly high gas prices. And of course, why are they higher? Highest gas taxes in the country. And they've curtailed domestic oil production as well as regulated the hell out of refining gas. Electricity costs, same thing. California is 48% higher than the national average for utility costs. The monthly bill is 48% higher. How much is it? Well, it's almost $90 higher, $91 it looks like, higher. Your cost is $1,000 more per year in California just for your electricity bill. $1,096.92. You have to earn about another $1,500. So now you got $3,000 for gas and electricity that you have to earn $3,000 more per year just to pay the higher cost per person. I guess the electricity is a household cost, but the gas was a per person, per driver cost. Healthcare costs. This is one where your insurance is a smidge lower, 3% lower because of all those subsidies. But take a look at an ER visit. You better not get hurt because most of those prices are bronze level. So your deductible is like $6,000. That's the average deductible. You have to pay $6,000 out of pocket before on a bronze level before you even get real coverage. So you go into the ER, the average cost in California is $2,960. We have a lot of illegal immigrants here who get free health care in the ER. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why. But all the regulations that have been applied, we just did a video on the minimum wage bill that went into effect for hospitals. All that adds to the cost here in California. So $2,960 in California versus $623 in Maryland, or $1,707 nationwide, or 79% higher than Maryland, 42% higher than the nationwide average. The care is not better, I guarantee you. How about an ambulance ride? $2,407 for an ambulance ride. It's higher, 73% higher than the benchmark. So your health insurance costs are going to be on the insurance side. You get savings of $222 with the subsidy, but if you have any need for healthcare this year, that's very quickly offset, and you're now in the hole. Water costs. $77 on average per month in California, compared to $40.92 average for the nation. I would love to have Wisconsin water cost $18. Your penalty for living in California on water, $432. That's an extra $600 you have to earn, $650. Food costs. Again, we're the breadbasket of the nation, not the Midwest, California, and I'm proud of that. Good agricultural economy. But here, our prices are higher, 13%, 30%, 38%. For the grocery bill, just 4%. But some of these items are much higher. Bread, eggs, milk. Cost per year, per person, $192, $197.57. Just for food. State and local taxes, 17% higher in California. We're 66% higher than the low tax state, which is Alaska. You're paying in taxes $10,167, and that includes sales tax and property tax and income tax. So total cost to you $3,804.56 per person for your tax bill because it's per capita. Child care costs much higher. $16,945 is the average annual cost in California. Lowest cost state is Alabama at $6,000, but the national average, pretty pricey to have a kid, $11,163.56, still 34% higher in California for childcare. The cost for you living in California to get childcare, $5,784.44 per year per child. Car costs. Your used car price, higher, 6% higher in California. Your repair costs, 9% higher in California. Sales tax on the new car is 7.5%. Some states don't charge that, but your car tax is at a staggering $540 per car. Insurance, 22% higher for car insurance. Just to own a car, not to gas it, not to insure it. Oh, actually, insurance is covered here. $1,594.95 just to own a car. Next. There we've got renter's insurance. Now, this is interesting. We've covered the issue of people losing their homeowner's insurance on this channel. The insurance costs are about to get a lot higher, but California's homeowner's insurance officially, in theory, is 68% lower than the national average. It's $2,138 versus $3,594. That is going to change with the new rate structure that they just approved, the risk models that they approved through the California Insurance Commissioner. So a lot of people are already seeing their insurance go higher. So this number, I don't think is going to be true for 2023. Maybe in 2022, this number has some resemblance of accuracy, but this number is going to be very, very much higher with that new rate structure that they just approved. And renter's insurance is also slightly lower. So insurance, do not take this number as any comfort. It's going to change. It's going to get worse. The data sets are also included in the Transparency Foundation's report for you to review. That's a lot of data. It's a lot of information, but it spells out line item by line item on your budget the higher cost of living in California. And I didn't go too much into the reforms, but I do encourage you to check out the report and look at the reforms, because there are some common sense things that can be done tomorrow to immediately save you money. But the politicians don't want to save you money. They don't care about you. They care about getting your money and giving it to their special interest masters, the people who put them into office and give them campaign contributions. That's why at Reform California, we are not only providing news like this podcast on higher costs and trying to educate the voters, but we are endorsing and recruiting and supporting candidates for office at the state and local levels. To do that, we need your help. So go on the website, reformcalifornia.org, reformcalifornia.org. Chip in a contribution, sign up to be a volunteer so you get our voter guide and can distribute it to your friends. Also, share the news that's up there, and please share this video. We've got to spread the word. We've got to open up the eyes of the voters. They're not getting the truth from the liberal media. This show can help open their eyes. Please share this video and remember to subscribe and click that notification button. Yes, $25,000 plus higher costs to live in California. It is unacceptable. It needs to be reformed. We need to give relief to working families. That's the mission of Reform California. Please join us, reformcalifornia.org. Until next time, Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California. Thanks for watching. Help us break through the censorship of the liberal media by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribe to my YouTube channel.